issue I wanted to touch on, and that's the curriculum rewrite. As you know, incredible amounts of opposition. Is it something that you need to go back to the drawing table on, or do you try and soldier on with this curriculum that's just being lambasted from all corners?
It's not being lambasted from all corners.
Yeah, we have 37,000 and counting concerned citizens on a Facebook group calling for the rejection of the curriculum. 91% of the teachers do not want to teach it. 20 school districts and counting refusing to pilot it. It's been condemned by the Confederation of Treaty 6 Nations, the Métis Nation, and many other Indigenous leaders and community members.
Shay, we have seen a catastrophic decline in domestically and internationally, and a significant decline in literacy outcomes for years.
I don't know anybody who's looked up PISA scores and has found this to be accurate.
We have a reputation as one of the best education systems in the world, so this narrative that somehow our students are underperforming is just a blatant lie.
A lot of the criticism is frankly, is predictably political.
The people that have been involved in curriculum design in this province for the last multiple decades haven't changed from government to government until this current government.
And I think if you're seeing so much criticism from so many corners, this is not left-wing socialist group. This is like concerned parents that are deeply worried about the flaws in this proposed curriculum.
The NDP wanted a social studies curriculum that taught virtually nothing about the actual Canadian historical experience.
And I don't know how he's getting away with this statement.
It gets this idea that Indigenous history is somehow not Canadian history, and I think he wants to spatialize and separate those things. And it's also important to note that generally, K-4 curriculum, you often start with yourselves or your family and then your community, and you work outwards. So it's just not an accurate reflection of what was being proposed.
But wanted to teach kids basically nothing but an endless stream of injustices and historical tragedies.
When I read that first guiding question from the proposed UCP curriculum, how did Alberta and the Northwest develop during the expansion of the West? Literally, the answer to that guiding question is through an endless stream of injustices and historical tragedies.
Yeah, like if you look at the questions in the 2018 draft, like those are questions you can imagine talking to young children about, and you know, the past is understood differently by different communities. So it's far from this idea of an endless stream of injustices and historical tragedies. It's just a completely inaccurate reflection of what was being proposed.
We should also give a balanced and objective view about world history, Canadian history, Alberta history.
I really wish he would look up the definition of balanced and objective before he used those words.
That's the thing that struck me when I saw the document. It's about another people in another place in another time. Like, it has nothing to do with us here.
It is a focus on basic facts about geography.
This just suggests to me just how quickly and sort of slapdash this process was. These are just two examples. It's just riddled in factual inaccuracies throughout the document.
The draft NDP social studies curriculum did not mention Confederation.
They're comparing and contrasting two documents. One, the scope was very different. This suggestion that the NDP were never going to talk about Confederation is just blatantly spreading misinformation.
Yeah, exactly. Like even in the current program that we're working with, you know, Confederation doesn't really come up until grade 7. Just another completely inaccurate statement by Jason Kenney.
This is a balanced view of who we are.
I pulled up a Wordle here that contrasts, again, the current grade 6 social studies curriculum with local being one of the most frequently used words compared to the draft where American, United States, and British are 3 of the most used words.
It reminds me that part of this social studies program borrowed heavily from a Common Core curriculum in Virginia. And I think that's part of the reason they have such a strong American influence.
I think there's one piece that was supposedly resembled something that was online.
I just think of Dr. Sarah Elaine Eaton, who's a world-renowned expert on this topic. She tweeted at one point, I want to clarify, I'm not suggesting that there might be plagiarism in this curriculum. I'm providing evidence that this curriculum has been plagiarized.
Dr. Sarah Eaton is a colleague of mine, and great respect for her, and she said her inbox was full of like people sending her like examples of plagiarism that they had found.
There is more information here, for example, about Black Alberta, the history of Black Albertans than ever in a curriculum before.
There are so many pieces to this, but the first thing that really bothers me about this is our curriculum just done a really bad job of providing this opportunity for representation of diverse perspectives. And so by suggesting that this is better because it's better than the last one, it's not good enough.
But if there are revisions that need to be made, they will be made over the course of the next year.
Just quite frankly, this curriculum isn't appropriate for implementation in classrooms.
And the danger that I see in implementing it is going to jeopardize one of the best education systems in the world. And this is going to have repercussions for decades to come.